So fellas, are we done barbecuing already, are we?
Yes, we're done, all done.
Well,
Yeah, Otis, well, some people were sleeping in, Otis.
other people were doing what?
Barbecuing.
Barbecuing? What's the occasion, Ed?
It's in honor of Jimmy Brinkman
Oh,
and all of our past friends.
I see. Well, that's a good thing. Well, we want to thank you on behalf of the gang for getting up early and barbecuing for us today.
Turn around and look at Don.
Okay, I'm turning around and look at Don now.
Yeah, we were.
Okay, on behalf of the gang, we want to thank you for getting up early and barbecuing today.
Anytime. And make sure you add Archer, Robin, Paul, Otis,
Okay.
Roddy, everybody that's
Can you
here.
write that down for me? I might not remember all those names.
Well, you texted me yesterday, so I updated my thing we talked about.
Okay, okay,
So we need to talk about that too.
okay. We can do that. Well, thanks, Ed. Good morning, James.
Morning. There's Dana
Good morning.
in the back.
Good morning.
We're all good?
Come on, little shadows. Good morning, Art. How are you?
What do you got there?
Brinkman Memorial.
Flip it around the other way.
Oh, it's the other beat.
Oh, that's right. Let me get a little closer.
Oh, that's a good side. There you go.
Oh, that's even a better side. I like that. Who made that sign?
Otis and Carol.
Oh, that is impressive. That is truly impressive. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So, are you guys going to follow the arrow or what? 'Cause
Yeah, we're going to follow
I'm just
the arrow
holding the
right down
camera.
here.
So, if you know how to weigh in, that would be helpful.
All right. Hey. Those late legs. Need some sun. Here you go.
Are you here? Okay, we got a fourth.
What do you want me to do?
We're gonna grab a corner, get on a pole. Otis,
Yes?
can you put the camera down and help?
No, this is a very important job I'm doing.
No screaming. I totally agree. No screaming. I've got a high chair warm over there.
Now, you're just silly, aren't you?
I learned it from that one.
You did what?
I learned it from my uncle, so.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, that's so.
Will you tell a TV audience your name, please?
Dakota Jade Moore,
And where do you live?
Marshalltown, Iowa.
And how old are you?
13.
13? Going on 23, are you?
No!
No? 13 going on 14?
Yes!
Oh, okay.
In June 19th.
That's a good date. Start this.
Okay, yeah.
And then I'm going to invite anyone else.
I don't know if I'm gonna say everything I wanna say up here during the intro, or maybe I'll come back up. I might just stand up here.
This is what I have. And just make sure it's cool. Say hi to everybody.
Are you gonna read everybody? All the gone people that are gone?
Say hi just a couple.
How you doing, pal?
This is his mother.
No, but I thought this was a piece of
Wait. Jill caught.
Yes. We want to say hi or say no.
Oh, you look so cute in this
We learned a few things over the past 15 years.
Not back here. So, if you're wondering, these are all of Jim's concert tickets. Not all of them, but these are some of Jim's concert tickets. And on the back, I did some research, so some of them I found the years for when he went. So. And he has a star named after him. So this is about a star. And you have to buy these. So you can buy a normal star, or a bright star, or a brighter star. I bought the normal star, so it's in this little circle over here. And if you look really close, there's a star in there. So. The blankets were gifts. I got this from a friend of mine on the East Coast instead of flowers when he passed away. And this Afghan is a prayer blanket that the people that I work with put together. They prayed over every square and brought them to Jim while he was home.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
And then the photo albums.
Do you remember him, Devin?
That's your hat. That was one that I gave that to him when I moved here. One of his favorite hats. He wore it all the time. All the time. Debbie? These are your chimes. These are like your mom's chimes.
How are you? I don't think they have Snapchat. That might be real.
I stuck my purse.
Okay. This is yours and Lee's. There is one of the portraits. One of the portraits is in here, an 8x10 portrait. One of the pages is in here.
These mixed together, but you don't want those mixed together? No, I want these separate. I want these in the 3 bowls.
You got it.
Yeah, so we'll just have them all mixed together and it'll be ready to go.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you.
Look, kitchen crew.
Say hi to everybody out in television land.
Hi.
What are these fellas doing over at the sink?
15 minutes of fame right there.
Otis, we're working, you're not.
I'm doing a very, very important job. Very important.
Yeah.
You'll thank me for this someday.
He's working.
Yeah.
You might want to record this. You're parked in a handicap spot.
Otis,
Don't move your truck.
Yeah,
Otis, we
I
put
am
on a
handicapped.
spot.
I am handicapped.
you were out there and I told you to move your truck and you didn't move
Oh,
it.
I don't hear so well. On purpose.
There you go. Selective hearing.
Hey, Otis, you got the lens cap on.
Take care of all this, Don.
No, he looks like a nice guy.
He is a nice guy, but he needs to be
Don, you
straightened
need a
out.
little bit of coffee because I need to make a new pot.
I'm just gonna loosen it up a little.
Good morning, folks. I'm glad you can make it out today. Yes, indeed. And how long did it take you to get to St. Louis?
An hour for us.
An hour? That's good.
2-ish.
2 maybe, 2-ish.
5 hours from Cincinnati.
It was worth it. It was definitely worth it.
Perryville, so it only took an hour. Yeah.
Well, we have a wonderful memorial plan. I'm quite sure you'll approve. I'm so glad you came out. It means the world to all of us. Yeah.
Don't get them two. Don't get them two at all.
Which two should I omit
They're
here?
better looking than I am.
Oh, the good looking ones over here. Okay. All right.
Capture while you can.
Yes, indeed.
I guess these are my great nieces. Yeah. It's I would say great niece. Yeah. That's good son.
Great news.
After I said that, all right, that's enough.
Good morning.
Good morning. After afternoon.
Oh, it is afternoon. No, not quite yet. Oh, you're still on the East Coast time,
That's
aren't you?
right, as Jim said.
It's morning
he always
here.
teased me, are you ahead or are you behind of us? And I'm like, every time he'd screw me up. And I'm like, well, no, we're ahead. But it's like we're behind. And every time, every text, are you awake yet? Because you're behind time or you're ahead of time. You know?
Those Cardinals are awesome.
They're behind the curve.
Yeah, we had to sit and watch the game last
Good morning, good morning, good morning. What have you here? Let's see. What have you got here? Open it up and show the audience in TV land.
Okay.
How about the French?
Vinegar.
Whose hat did you steal?
It's probably going to be more like an hour. Okay. Just going to do the French.
So, Joe did.
Hi.
I should not avoid that video camera. I keep avoiding that video camera.
Well, it's a magnet for pretty girls. That's what it is.
Oh, does it get deep or what?
It is. He knows. He knows what he's looking
Where's the
at.
swimming pool?
Wow. That looks most excellent. What do you think?
Most excellent. That's all right.
Robin, who made all this wonderful barbecue?
It was a group effort.
Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Welcome to the memorial.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm glad you could make it out.
Yeah.
We're going to have a wonderful memorial for Jim Brinkman, and I think you'll approve.
Good.
Quite sure.
Good.
Good to see you.
Oh, camera shy, aren't you?
Ja, ich kann Deutsch reden. Kannst du auch ein bisschen Deutsch reden?
Hi, Nicole. It's been so long.
Hi, Dominic. How are you? Oh, whoa! Don't jump out.
Dakota and my daughter Nicole. Nicole, this is Terry. Hi, Terry. High school friend. We palled around in what we called the social creek. It was so. We weren't social. Yeah, we were different.
Hey, Jasmine.
And I remember getting it. Tonight, I was like, so okay. I had no idea. That's how it was. Yes, I did. That's what I heard. 6 hour drive ahead of us on Monday. Yeah. I'm Barb. Mike's and Jill's from when we were really
Let me do this here.
We were
Tell
just
me,
kids.
tell me your name again. I missed.
Marble Tower.
Oh, thanks for coming out.
We went to high school together, Mike and Jill and I. Well, Mike was a lot older. He was not a lot older, but he was younger than us. And Jill was younger than me. So, but yeah, I've known Mike and Jill since I was 16.
Wow.
Did you grow up in Blueberry Hill? No, they all lived over there, and I lived in Benton. Okay. And what's your name? Barb. I'm Regina. I love it. I went to New York. 77. I graduated 73. Okay. Okay, but my maiden name is Podlowski, and I hung around with these guys, I don't know, since I was 5 years old. Yeah. Because we all have the same neighborhood. Yeah. Have you seen the memorable piece over here. Nice meeting you.
Of course, yes.
Come on over. So Jill put Jim's tickets together, and some of them she even had to research because they just have the date.
Oh my God.
Okay, and what's unique too is that she put this all together. So she had to do the research to figure out who was who, and what's even more amazing is some of these guys are together, like Queen and Seeger, for $6.50. Yeah, yeah,
That is great.
that's when we were all poor, and we thought $6.50 was, oh my God.
I wonder if she wanted to take a picture of this first.
We're getting the movie right
Getting a movie right there. Oh, just come over here and take a picture of this real quick.
Oh, I got it. It's beautiful.
Got it. All right.
When you're done cutting it, can I lick the...
Can you lick the knife? If you don't want to
That's bad karma. That's real bad karma.
Dash, which... His name is Otis. Ooh, I like your mustache.
Me too.
You look like one of those Italian people.
Well, actually, I'm a New Orleans card shark, son. Yeah. You gotta beware of men with handlebar
All the way
mustaches.
here in Missouri.
I did grow up here in Missouri. Yes.
Is that on?
It certainly is.
Show me how. Do I have
Well,
to
it's-
hold the button?
Well, it's filming right now. It's live right now. See, it's live right now. See, you just have to look at
Wait,
people.
is that going on? Is that going on TV?
No, it's not going on TV, but we will save it for folks to watch in the future. I'm sure they'll enjoy watching it in the future. How about that? That's a good idea, yes? Go on TV? Well, we'll see what we can do about that. Maybe we can call Channel 5 or Channel 4. See if they put us on television. Wouldn't that be great? What channel? ABC. That's good too.
Good, Dad.
Well, there's one for you.
How are you doing? I'm just busy taking pictures.
Oh my
You're
gosh.
the picture guy.
Yeah, I'm the official cameraman, and it's a great job. It's a great job.
Well, I tell you, Jim always texts me, Otis has been here, or Otis did that. You just don't know how happy you guys all made me.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm so thankful.
We had tons of fun together.
Oh, I know.
Tons of fun together.
And I never knew who Otis
Yeah,
was.
now you could have put a handsome face with a name.
Yes, right. You got
Thanks
that,
so much for
buddy.
coming out. I know you wouldn't miss it for the world.
No,
Yes.
that's right. So take care and get lots of good pictures.
Just love this whole group. I mean, they are just. We are. I know. We are. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Hey, how are you?
I'm so glad you made it out today.
I'm like somebody shining a light.
Yeah.
Hey, Otis, how are you?
You look wonderful today.
Sandy Feather.
All right, now wait a minute. I got to give you a hug here. Let's see if I can do this like this. Hi, Sandy Feathers. There, how's that look? Okay.
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm Regina Grasso, and some may know me as Podlowski. So, Jill and I reconnected after so many years through Facebook. And it couldn't have been a better moment. But I found a poem that I thought would be fitting for our group. And bear with me. We little knew that morning God was to call your name. In life, we loved you dearly. In death, we do the same. It broke our hearts to lose you. You did not go alone. For part of us went with you the day God called you home. You left us beautiful memories. Your love is still our guide. And though we cannot see you, you're always by our side. Our family chain is broken, and nothing seems the same. But as God calls us one by one, the chain will link again.
I have one last verse. John 14, 1 and 3. And Jesus is speaking here. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I'm going there to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am.
Okay, thank you. We're going to sing a song now, Amazing Grace. Going to be led by Ed Hannewinkle, who's been a good friend of Jim's for, 35 years or so, Ed? Yeah, something like that.
We ask that everybody sing along.
Please. I sort of sing in the key of E.
And while this is going on, there is a PowerPoint pictures of Jim that we're going to put into PowerPoint mode, and we'll just cycle through. You get one.
This music is really slow, so kind of follow it. Help me through here. Don't let me sing along, please.
We have sheet music for everyone. Does everybody get a copy?
It's in your brochure if you got one. You need to hand some out? Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
I would like to say a few words, just a few. I'm not an improviser like Paul, so I have to plan a little better like that. Then we would certainly like to have anybody who would want to walk up and share a story, a prayer, from your chair, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then we'll carry on from there. I'd like to start with, on this day of remembrance of Jim, our friend, family member, just a special person. That we remember all the people that have gone before him, but that Jim has touched. We remember all of our good friends, Kevin Saborin, Chuck Starr, Danny Puff, Stevie Erickson, Irma Wakeland, Dee Wintage, Jack Wintage Jr., Pete Hensler, Bobby Avishon, Joe Paper, Wayne Paper, John Cerati, Ed Zurcher, Emil Katowski, Mike Katowski, old friends from a long ago, Wally Benwell, Bill Schauer, Glenn Taylor, as well as a close friend of Jim's. You guys knew Mike Brain. Also, Kenny Rose was part of our crew in the motorcycle arena and stuff like that, so we'd like to mention him, as well as all the others that have crossed paths with everyone here. Also, please give a prayer for all of our parents. Some are past and some are still with us. I assure you, Jim touched every one of our parents. Mr. and Mrs. Brink, thank you for giving us Jim. Thank you for your sincere acceptance and kindness to all of us guys and gals through our youth, and we will never forget your influence and the big heart that you've shown to all of us. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to share. Sorry, you done?
Yeah, now I got one way back.
Go for it.
Jimmy's uplifting charm, genuine caring for others, and always positive attitude was a very important part of all of our lives. If you needed to be cheered up, you called Jim. If you needed to vent, or if you needed a friend, you called Jim. He was always available, and in my mind, he still is. Jimmy, you are a good man. Jill, we all know the joy that you brought to Jim over the last 3 years. The smiles, the truly visible happiness you gave him made his life complete. That is so very important for you to hold on to. We all thank you for your love and care for him over the last several months of his illness. The strength and care you gave and the patience that you showed was the most impressive display of honor that anyone could ever imagine. I am absolutely sure that the way Jim lived his life, he is sitting in the most deserved spot in heaven and looking down on all of us as we continue on in his memory. God bless you, Jim Brinkman. We love you, we miss you, and we will always remember you.
I had a story, a couple stories I was going to share about Jim. When we heard Jim had cancer, we were kind of, I'm a Christian, and I want to make sure that I see all of you in heaven with me. So I took it upon myself to visit Jim a couple of times to ask him that question. Does he know where he's going? And both times, he said, I am a born-again Christian, and I will see you in heaven, and I know the Lord. So, I know that you Christians out there, whenever I go to one of these memorials, I wonder, where did that person go? So, it's hard, but he's up there. So be prepared to see him again. One other thing, I know we didn't get to hold this down at the River House, but about 2 years ago in the summer, Jill and Jim came up to me and said, you know, we want to get married down here. That's how much they love the place. That would have been, it's a great place. It's right now it's not. But it's a great place to go, to get away for the weekend, and, you know, recharge your batteries. So it's just amazing that, you know, I guess that they wanted to get married down there, and that was one of the reasons, and they loved it down there, and that was one of the reasons we were going to do the memorial down there. But it didn't happen. It happened here for some reason. So that's all I had. Does anybody else have any other stories they'd like to share? I'd like, you know, open it up to the floor. Just stand up at your chair, or you don't have to come up here. You don't have a microphone. Just please feel free.
I just want to say something about Jill. You turned my son into a love-lost teenager. That's what he done 17 years ago. We've never seen him so happy like that for a long time. And my wife has got very patience. One time Jim and Jill both was down at the house and was fixing sausage and eggs and biscuits and gravy. And Joan asked Jim, said, you want milk gravy with that, don't you? She said, if Jill fixes it. And my wife's a pretty good cook. You can tell by my profile. That's all I'm going to say. I can do many stories. I didn't want to do that.
I'm not going to share stories because that might get me in trouble, but I know everybody knows, but the feeling was mutual. Jim did as much for me as I did for him. And, you know, I get to be a part of a wonderful family, the Brinkman family. This is my brother. And I know you guys have heard me say before, you know, we didn't have the best upbringing. So it was really amazing to me to see a family like the Brinkman family. But I have to, and I've said this to you before, but I'm going to say it again so that everybody knows and so that you know, you raised your son well. You did an excellent job. Whether you knew him or not, you knew of him and you loved him. His high school friends are here, you know, people that we've known. Jim and I knew him, some of these people for 40 or 50 years. So, you know, special guy, special place, special time. So, and I know there's stories. I know there's stories. Art, I know you've got stories. So you need to share so that everybody that didn't really know Jim kind of get to know him today. Dennis, I know you got stories.
I'm just going to miss being called a dumbass.
Yeah.
Anybody else been called a dumbass by him?
Debbie and Dennis were a big word.
It was like every time he saw him.
Hey, Dennis, I can continue that on for you.
Yeah. Has it covered. I'm glad you're all here. Thank you very much. And I have to say thank you to Paul and Carol and Mark and Otis and Ed and Lauren and Dennis, the entire Sherry, everybody. You guys did an amazing job. amazing job, and it's just beautiful. And our trumpet player, thank you, Jacqueline. It was beautiful.
Okay, anybody else want to share?
I'll say something. One of the
Be loud, Lauren. Be loud.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am a married member of this crew. I married into it. And I met some remarkable people. Not all of them are here. We went camping one time for a float trip. And Jim slept in the back of his Escort. He thought it was pretty hot. It was an Escort. So the next morning when we were getting ready to go on our float trip, Jim can't find his keys. His car keys, his house keys, his key ring. So we all spread out looking for a set of car keys. Where in the world could he have put them? I mean, for an hour and a half, everybody looked. Under every rock, under every bush, anywhere we could look. About halfway later, he goes back into his car. Voila, he had put them on top of the wheel well. And nobody thought to look in the car. Needless to say, his friends were not happy, but it worked out well anyway. Another one of my very favorite stories, and I've told his mom and his sister. When my husband and I built a house, our house sold a lot faster than we ever dreamt it would. And Jim was nice enough to put us up during that period of time when we had nowhere else to go. And Jim has always been like a brother to me. He and I share the passion of reading and a couple of other things. Well, one day while he was at work, I decided to do my unmentionables, and I had them hung up over the doorways. I had them everywhere. Because he was one time when I was up and awake, not working, and he was at work. He came home to see all my bras and underwear hanging all over his kitchen. And I knew then he was going to be my friend for life, because he just looked at me and he said, "What are you doing?" So I love Jim very much. He's always been a special friend to me. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes. Jim was always still in the jungle. He was always joking around me and my mom. One time I was hunting for rocks and he was playing a prank on me. He's like, "Those rocks? Did I throw them away?" And I went outside and I looked in the dumpster. They weren't there. They were in my mom's trunk. He was always funny. Made me giggle, made me laugh, made me smile. That's why I call him a good man. I loved him in here, and everyone else loved him in here. Everyone will see him in here and in here.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'm standing. I didn't know Jim as well as the rest of the posse, and I didn't do anything stupid with him. Just didn't have the time, I guess, for a story. But what I will say, Jim was one of the most genuinely happy people. Everybody's saying it in here, but one of the most genuinely happy people in life that I've ever met. That's all I can say. He's a good guy always, just like Ed said. That's it.
He was always the life of the party. If you invite, we always tried to get him to come to the parties, and he didn't make it all the time. But when he did, you knew it was going to be fun.
He always managed to get me in trouble.
There you go. You're easy to get in trouble.
And then he'd sit back and laugh.
Okay, so I'm going to tell the dentist story. Just you need to hear this. So, as Ed mentioned, some of our friends went before Jim, and there was one very special friend, Paul. When I met Paul, it was always Paul and Chuck. And my brother remembers Chuck. I used to ride on the back of Chuck's motorcycle everywhere. He was a very good friend of all of ours. And Chuck passed away. I was gone on the East Coast when Chuck passed away in '02. And they had his memorial down at the river. And Chuck had married, lived in Kansas City, or the Ozarks, or somewhere, lived somewhere. And so his wife, they had all kinds of people. We have a videotape of it. I've seen the videotape at Otis's, they recorded it. And anyway, they had all these people down there, and Dennis and Jim were sitting on the trailer, drinking beer. There's a trailer behind the truck, one of the Carol hauls all over the place, and she goes back and forth down to the river. She drives the truck and hauls the trailer, not Paul. I'll just throw that in there. But anyway, so the trailer's hooked to the truck, and they're sitting, Dennis is sitting on the edge of the trailer. Jim has told me this story a million times. And they're drinking, imagine that. Carrying on, imagine that. And Paul repeatedly came over and said, if you don't shut up, you're going to leave. I'm going to kick you out of here. And they continued to drink, and they continued to have fun until Dennis fell backwards into the trailer. And Jim told me he looked like a turtle. He's laying there, his legs are up, his arms are up, he's flailing and laughing, and the two of them were laughing. Paul said, that's it, you're out. You're making too much noise. And they had to leave, somebody had to leave and walk.
We had to go down to the river barn. We had to go down to the river.
They had to go down to the river. So they just took the CD player and they went down to the river, and that's where they spent the rest of their days. So
He was a good friend. He didn't even help me up out of there, I had to roll my way out of there. He just stood back and laughed. He said, you dumbass.
I don't even remember that.
It's true. I've heard from more than one person. It's true.
The turtle story.
It's the turtle story.
Yeah, we were all sitting around, and somebody was playing an acoustic guitar, and it was a quiet hour, and me and Brinkman were just... And yeah, you did come over and tell us to be quiet. And we were trying to be quiet, but...
Okay, good deal. Anybody else got another story?
Yeah, she's ready.
Sorry?
She's ready.
Okay.
Jim had different ladies in his life. But this lady called me one day and she said, I've made cookies. Can I send them to your house? I had known Jill maybe for a little bit in high school, but not real well. Sure. So this package, it was big, arrived. And Jim comes down for the weekend for Christmas. And I said, you have a package waiting for you from Jill. Oh, he took it and sat in the big chair, opened up the box. Took out, she had them wrapped in cylinders, not a broken cookie in this box. He'd open it. Oh, this is so good. Wrap it back up, put it in, he'd undo another one. There must have been 20 kinds of cookies in this box. He tasted them all. Oh, they're so good. Now, I made cookies every year, decorated ones and all kinds. I never heard that kind of comment about it. So he proceeded to take them all, and he said, would you like to keep some? I said, well, no, she made them for you. You take them home. He took that whole box home, whether he ate them or what he did. But this was the cutest thing, him sitting there in this big chair, opening this box this big with all kind of cookies. And it was just from there on, their love was entwined, and it was, I learned who Jill was. Oh. Very sweet lady. Thank you.
She didn't chew him out.
Anybody else care to share?
I'll say something if I can get it out.
Please.
Because it makes me emotional. Right in the middle of Jim's chemo. He sent me a note, and he wanted to make sure that Rick and I knew if there was anything that he could do to provide us comfort with some things that we were going through in our family, to let him know. Gave us his name, his address, his phone. And it's Jim, and I thought that was very selfless and
wonderful thing for him to do for us.
Yeah.
I'm going to do another one, just because I'm not sure that everybody here knows this story, but Phoebe's right, it's the way Jim was. So Jim was sick, and he was going through chemo. But this hat that I'm wearing today, all of our hats, by the way, are Jim's hats. He wore a baseball cap wherever he went. And so after he passed, because and he and I had discussed this, I felt that, you know, the people, our friends had supported us so much during his illness that everybody needed to be able to wear one of his hats. So we all took one of his hats. And this particular hat, this is my St. Louis Cardinals Blues hat that I went to a baseball game to get, a themed night for Jim, because my baseball partners are Sherry and Robin, and because Jim didn't want to do downtown or Busch Stadium or any of that anymore. He was done with all of that. But me, you know, I just came back to the St. Louis area and I want to go to baseball games. So I thought he lets me go to these games and never gives me a hard time about nothing. So I will go get him a hat because he liked hats. So I got him this hat. And this is the hat that he was wearing the day we were married, which is why I chose this hat for today. But it's not about this hat. I also went to a St. Louis Browns theme night, and I got a St. Louis Browns baseball cap that he wore all the time. And he was wearing it at work, and somebody said to him, "Why are you wearing that hat?" And he said, "Because Jill got it for me. It's my St. Louis Browns hat." And they were like, "Man, that thing's going on eBay for like $75. You shouldn't be wearing that hat." But he wore it anyway. During chemo, he had that hat on one day. And chemo, the second chemo treatment, we just didn't ever seem to plan very well. The first chemo treatment, he would be in there longer and we'd get settled in, and then I'd go get us something to eat, and we'd eat, and da-da-da-da-da. Second chemo treatment was a little bit faster, so we were often in and out of there a lot faster. And we forgot about eating, and we never did get this down, so we would leave there starving. And so we would go, we went this one particular day, we went across the street to the Burger King. He wanted a Whopper, so that's where we went. So we go in, and we're sitting there, we got our Whoppers, and we're getting all, you know, Whopper nasty. And this man walks up, and Jim's wearing the Browns hat. And this man older than us walks up, and he starts talking to Jim about the St. Louis Browns, as though Jim attended those games. And Jim kept trying to tell him, "Well, sir, you know," but Jim knew stories because he read all the time. And so he knew, you know, he knew the history of the St. Louis Browns. He shared a story with this man about the managers when the St. Louis Cardinals and the St. Louis Browns were in St. Louis at the same time. And the managers for each team shared an apartment. So, and it worked out because while one was away traveling and playing games, the other one was here. And so they would just switch, and their wives, and they would just switch places in the apartment until the St. Louis Browns and St. Louis Cardinals had a World Series together. And then both of the managers were here, and they had to figure out who was going to stay in the apartment. So anyway, he was sharing that story with this man. But this man was with a group of retired Air Force pilots and Air Force airmen. And it's a small group that gets together on a monthly basis or whatever, and they go to Burger King and have lunch, and they talk and whatever, and they reminisce. So this man he was telling us how baseball and God and his service to his country were all linked in his life. And he was telling us how he was trying to write his memoirs that he was hoping to publish, you know? And we giggled with him because he had 3 hats on. And he had a hat that represented each one. You know, one represented, we had a Air Force hat on. He had a white hat with a cross on it for his Christianity. And then he had on a St. Louis Cardinals hat. Okay? All three hats. And, you know, we really enjoyed it. We talked to this man. He talked to us for 20 minutes. And we finished our Whoppers and we left and went down. We were down in Cape and we were coming back from Cape. And Jim, you know, sometimes driving, we'd just have the music on and we'd just be reflecting. And he said to me, he said, Jill, why didn't I give that man my Browns hat? And I was like, honey, I don't know, hindsight, you know. And the next time we went to chemo and he wore that hat, when we left, he said, can we go to Burger King? And I said, yeah. He said, I want to see if that man's there. And I said, okay. We drove through the parking lot and we looked inside and we didn't see the men sitting at the round table where they were. And I said, you know, he's like, I don't think they're here. And I said, look, if they come here on a regular basis, the people that work here are gonna know, right? We know people who come on a regular basis. We know who they are. So I said, let me just go in and ask. Jim was having reactions to the steroid they were using with the chemo. So he was very emotional. He didn't want to go in. But I pulled in and I said, I'll go. So I went in and I said to the people, I said, excuse me, you have a group of men that come here. They said, oh yeah, the airplane guys. And I said, do they come every week? And they were like, yeah, they come on Tuesdays. And I said, but okay. And I said, are they here? And she's like, no, I haven't seen them, you know. Well, there were two men sitting at this little table. And I went back out to the car and I said, Jim, they do come here and they do come weekly, but they're not here yet. You know, do you want to wait? What do you want to do? And he's like, well, there are a couple guys in there. Are they them? I said, I don't know. I'll go ask them. So I walk up and these men are eating their Whoppers, you know, dripping down and whatever. And I said to him, are you the airplane guys? And the guy said, yeah. And he said, how can I help you? And I gave him the story. My husband is going through chemotherapy. He's in the car. He has a hat for one of your guys that was a St. Louis Browns fan. The man knew immediately who I was talking about. And he said, he doesn't come here very often, only when we force him. And I said, would you give him the hat? And he said, I most certainly will. And I went out and I got the hat and the man said, I want to meet your husband. So Jim couldn't get out of the car and the man came to the car and the two of them cried together. And he got the hat to the older man because the older man called and left a message on Jim's phone. So that is the kind of guy that he was. He made a special trip just to make sure that older man got that St. Louis Browns hat. That's the kind of guy he was.
Anybody else have anything else they'd like to share with about Jim? Okay, I think we're going to go back to Ed, and Ed's going to lead us again, if you can all put up with that.
I'm going to try better.
Before we sing, we need to...
Oh, you want to... Everybody please get up in the circle. We're going to do a big circle and sing the song, "The Circle Be Unbroken."
Right after this.
I'm standing by my window on a cold and cloudy day.
but I could not hide my sorrow when they laid her in the grave. Will the circle be unbroken by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky or in the sky. Now it's back home, home is lonesome. Miss my mother, she was gone. All my brothers, so much rain, but the sun was in the sky. Will the circle be unbroken by and by? All my brothers, so much rain, but the sun so stands strong. Will the circle be unbroken by and by? There's a better on the way in the sky or in the sky.
A lot of people spent a lot of time out in the rain this morning barbecuing for us all. We got pretty big meat, things of meat over there, and the rest of the food's going to come out here in a little bit. So I think I think that's everything, right?
Yeah, I'll play that other song afterward.
So we all gonna get in line and have some chow here, and let's just remember our brother Jim. We're all gonna miss him. But my gosh, he's looking down on us right now, saying, "Go party!" Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah. Okay. So the line will form over here, and
David,
family.
you're starting the line. Yeah, starting the line. He's like, yes, thank you. That was a mistake. You danced Be a broken I'm gonna be singing it all day long.
Oh, Otis, come on, man.
Go on.
You'll thank me someday. You will thank me someday.
You said gesture you were trying to make? Oh. Something like that.
You got that right, mister. Goodness. The molded chairs are going that first door on the left. 13. Number 13.
Success. All right, back in business. Got the Hard Rock going on.
Let me get a close up here.
It's bringing the girl crush out of me.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. That's magnificent.
Oh, look at that.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Save the Planet Hard Rock Cafe.
All for Jim.
That's what I like.
All for Jim.
I like to see that. And the hat, of course. Close up here. Got it. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, there's another familiar face.
We're going to do this tomorrow.
Did you get enough to eat?
Oh, God, yeah.
How about some dessert? You need some dessert?
I had that.
Okay.
I'm taking that there, we could hear.
No, Dennis said he's fine up here. You want to ride in the back of the truck? I'll take you to the tab. No, we got a car. We're not going to buy it.
I saw it.